With Veterans for Education Reform, and we're here at our press conference in Mission San Antonio. This is our church. We're indigenous people, and we had founded Veterans for Education Reform to address the mental health crisis that's not being addressed with our veterans. 22 servicemen are killing themselves every day. The reason why our press conference today, on February 10th, Senator John Cornyn introduced a bill. It was Mental Health and Safe Communities Act, SB 2002, that was heard in Washington at the U.S. Senate Judiciary hearings. And they were addressing this mental health crisis in America by wanting to keep our veterans and the young men and women who have been put on antidepressants in the state of Texas at such a horrific rate, saying that San Antonio should be a model site with the CIT training. Crisis intervention training is not going to help our men, and trying to put them back on antidepressants. We were the review committee in 2012 suicide report by the Department of Veterans Affairs, and antidepressants were identified as causing a high rate of suicide. We had advocated with Senator Leticia Van de Putte in 2013, Texas governor, former Texas governor Rick Perry signed a bill that was authored by then State Representative Rose Colkhurst. The HB 915, in the language, it did say that psychotropics were causing the children in the Texas foster care system to commit suicide. Yet today we're having them trying to justify in the system, not acknowledging that in the report closer to home by the Council of State Governments, the state of Texas Juvenile Justice Department has the highest rate of recidivism in the United States. They're chemically altering children's minds with psychotropics, causing them to what we did in our assessment for the Casey Foundation back in 2010. One young man killed his father, and I had gone to the Bexar County juvenile judge, Lisa Jarrett, and asked her to please, take into consideration that the young man was put on a psychotropic in the Cindy Taylor Crier Center. These things are all happening, and they're being covered up by Cornyn trying to push Parmelo, Center for Healthcare Services, and this group into saying antidepressants are going to help our society. This morning today, on my way here to the press conference, a young man walked by me as I was taking my bus, and his mind had been altered, and he had said something that I couldn't understand. He had walked away, or actually he marched away, and when he marched back he had two knives in his hand. I ran across the street, called the police, but this is going to be the life of what we're doing here in America. This can't be our process. We're asking the President of the United States to ask my son to get a presidential pardon. They altered his mind, and he didn't remember taking somebody's food, and they gave him 12 years. So when you go online, it's posted under the ESP project, Building America's Future. There's the petition to the president. It's also our course on asking the state of Texas Governor Rick Perry, and we will march to Austin to take the indigenous approach of earth and solar poly to become an affordable housing model in America, to where veterans can mentor young men and women to change America's future. If we don't do this now, we're heading into what this as a society is creating as a crime against humanity. On December 17, 2015, in the ruling MD versus Perry, U.S. District Judge Jacqueline Graham Jacks ruled that the state of Texas is guilty of chemically altering children's minds, making them no longer functional members of society due to the uses of antidepressants. If this has all been identified, how are they constituting where the highest rate of recidivism in the United States is right here where we're sitting? So I'm going to light a candle for those children today and pray that someone tries to make the change in identifying the crisis that's being created as a process for the indigent children of Texas to be the new product of what, as indigenous people, we'll have to accept as today being what yesterday was, the penal system being nothing more than slave ships on land today. So I'm saying a prayer for our children, and I'm asking you to please go online, the ESP Project, Building America's Future, sign the petition to the President. Tonight I'm holding a town hall on crime and incarceration. President Barack Obama started the initiative with law enforcement leaders in America on crime and incarceration to address this mass incarceration. Probably today, if we did the assessment, the use of antidepressants in our system of justice will be the #1 cause of this mass incarceration they're calling a mental health crisis. So we need your help and your support and your prayers for our children. Whether they're indigent, they're all American children. So please, sign the petition. I beg you, please. My son didn't deserve this. They made him plead guilty on the day his